I did it in the glory hole. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. A few months ago I did a little Q&A ask me anything kind of video, and surprisingly it's had more questions for us, so I thought I would do a part 2 of getting to know me more. So I've got a bowl of all your questions, and this is a combination of questions I didn't get round to last time, and also some questions you asked on my recent comment on my community tab. So let's dive straight in, see what you want to know. Okay, so Shallon Shiloh wanted to know, I wanted to ask you, what editing app do you use to make those hilarious bits in your videos, or would you have to kill me if you told me? I wouldn't have to kill you, don't worry. So the editing software I use for my videos is quite basic in comparison to a lot of other softwares out there. I use Filmora. I've used Filmora for years. I used Filmora back when it was Filmora 7, and now it's Filmora 12 due to all the updates. It's a very user-friendly video editing software if you want to get into video editing, and it's also quite cost-effective. I would love to use like Adobe or other kind of fancier editing software. The only problem with that is usually they're quite expensive, and secondly, if you've learned, like I'm self-taught, if you've learned to edit with a certain platform, it actually takes quite a while to figure out where everything is and how to do certain things. So if I moved on to a different software, it would take me kind of months and months and months to get the hang of it and to figure out where everything is and how to create a video the way I create a video. The software I currently use, it can be quite limiting to certain things, but it's also improved and introduced loads of other features, which I found really beneficial, and it suits me for the videos that I make. I think if I had anything kind of crazy that I could do loads of different stuff with, I would just never get a video out because I would be too busy prattling on, editing and adding effects and doing all sorts of crazy stuff with my videos. And also another little tip, if you're into video editing and you kind of like little cutaways.
Oh my god, no way, no.
So say I said something along the lines of, oh, I can't believe she slagged us off.
I can see that. Because you're stupid.
And I've probably just added a little clip of something to the video, and I actually use a website called Playphrase where you can type in a certain phrase or sentence or a certain word, and it'll go through loads of kind of TV shows and films and bring up snippets of what people have said in those videos and films, and then you can just download them and insert them into kind of cutaways.
I like that.
Very handy thing to have. I'm not going to gatekeep it or anything like that. Go crazy, use all of it, none of it, it's up to you. Okay, next question. Oh, this one feels like a big one. So this one's from Isura, or is that an L? I think that's an I. Isura. I think I'm pronouncing that right, I'm sorry if I'm not. But they put, I did have a question though, and I know you've talked about it before, but I can't for the life of me find that video. But before you got the hearing aids, what did you use to help with the tinnitus, and do you think it helped much? I don't know whether I've still got it one sec. No, I don't have it anymore. It was like this oil that you added to water and drank it, and it was supposed to help alleviate tinnitus symptoms, and it helped a little bit, but then I found it started to not really work for us. So I wouldn't really recommend it, and it tasted foul, by the way. Kind of one of those holistic things that might work, might not work, I don't know. But one thing I would recommend, one sec, you get yourself one of these things. These are amazing. So this is a little white noise machine. I'll just plug it in, and this essentially has the same function as what my hearing aids do, and it plays a white noise. I actually keep this plugged in and keep it on over in my studio, over in the room there, whilst I'm recording videos, because I can't stand it when a room is like super quiet, because I feel like I can hear my tinnitus more, even with my hearing aids. Right, so I'll play this, and this is what it sounds like. And you can turn it up. And that's all it is. It's like a wispy, blowy kind of sound.
Excuse me?
But it makes your ears and your brain focus on this rather than that sound that's playing inside your ears. Fantastic little thing. And also, I think this one, it has other sounds. Let's have a look. Have a bit of rain. Heavier rain. Babbling brook. A nice little river. Oh, the sea. Birds. Campfire, how fun. A train? Who wants to listen to a train? It's got a train sound. Oh, it's got music. Oh, we could do some meditation, couldn't we? So yeah, if you're suffering with tinnitus still and you don't want hearing aids, I would suggest you get one of these little things, plug them into your room, especially on a night time it helps. I think mine was about £20 on Amazon. Just search for white noise machine and loads will come up, and they'll all be similar to this, and they'll have loads of different features. So hopefully that's helped Asura. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you about the liquid because I threw it out, it was shit. Okay, next question. So this one's from Goody Miller. You get to make a public sculpture, money and time are no object. Where would it be? How big would it be? What would it be made from? And what would it represent? If it's abstract, would you tell people what it represents or leave it open for them to interpret? So I really like public sculptures and public art and stuff, but the only problem I have with it is I feel like some artists who make certain works only do it to be like, oh, look how big my dick is, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like show-off, vanity kind of project. So for me, what I would love, if no money or anything like that, it would be kind of like an installation, but it would be hidden out the way. You would have to proper trek to find it. It wouldn't be visible or anything like that. And I would love to find a cave somewhere and encrust all the inside of the cave with like different coloured crystals or something and do like this really funky, crazy installation. And I wouldn't tell anyone about it. It would be a very intimate kind of space where you might just stumble across it by chance. I think that would be fun, and it's a little bit mysterious as well. And I also don't like telling people what the work represents. When it comes to art as a whole, especially my own art, I like people to make their own minds up on it and create kind of a story about it. I might have a predetermined idea for the work, and that's what the work's about. But if someone comes along and sees something completely different, it doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that they interpret it in a different way, and they're right in a way because that's what they see. I really dislike going to exhibitions where it's not kind of open-ended and it's like, this is how you're supposed to feel, this is what the work's about, and you can't see anything else. If you see anything else, you're dumb as a rock. And say, no, you're not. Art's subjective, art's open, and it's supposed to make you think, and it's supposed to make you feel different things. One person might feel very overwhelmed and emotional by a piece of artwork, and another person might look at it and be like, it's a bit boring, isn't it? And that's the magic with art. Everyone has a different interpretation of it. Yeah, I wouldn't really tell anyone what it's about, but if they asked, I would. But also, I would encourage them to think for themselves and to put their own narrative behind it, because I think that's more fun.
So fun.
Okay, next question. Oh, this is a paragraph. Okay, so Carly's commented 6 questions. What was the reason that prompted you to create a YouTube channel and start recording videos and posting them? What was the main purpose that you had in mind when you started YouTube? What is the main drawback about creating YouTube content? What is the main benefit of making YouTube content? Where do you see your channel going in 2023? Is there anything that we, your viewers, can do to help you either with your channel or with your life generally? A lot of questions, Carly. They all kind of go together though. So I don't know whether I've actually talked about this before, but if you ever stumble across some of my older videos, like the first 6 months I was on the platform, I was creating a lot of content that kind of kicked back to my art website, because my idea for starting a YouTube channel was that I would make videos that would help me kind of sell my art. That was the whole purpose of it. It was to bring attention to the artwork that I did. But then as time went on, I started to really enjoy just making videos and kind of pissing about and not taking them as seriously. If you ever watch my old videos, they're very, very serious. They're very kind of like rigid and I'm like a robot. So that was my main reason for starting my channel, was to help boost my art kind of career and kind of sell artwork and stuff. Didn't work out anywhere. But then I just started to enjoy doing like challenges and crafts and stuff, and I just kind of separated myself from the art stuff and my YouTube stuff and made it kind of 2 separate things, and then I just eventually stopped doing the art stuff altogether. What's the main drawback about creating YouTube content? I don't think there's particularly much drawback. I think the only drawback that I currently have creating content for YouTube is time. I struggle with time because I think if someone's a full-time creator, champion, you're just doing fine, you're making videos, you're having loads of fun. If you're working a full-time job and you're creating content, it's so hard because you're basically working 7 days a week. Although I don't consider YouTube work per se, I'm constantly doing stuff. So like I've got a week off work at the moment and I'm recording a shitload of videos while I've got the week off work, just so I've got them kind of banked and I don't fall behind on my recording schedule, because that's very important to us. So I would say that was the main drawback for me with YouTube, and also trying to get my videos out there. I've been doing this for 5 years now and I still struggle to grow my channel. And as a content creator, you have certain things that you're kind of supposed to do, and it doesn't matter if you do all of them, you're still not guaranteed to kind of hit the jackpot and start growing your channel and your channel gets accelerated and you're in front of everyone. It all depends on luck. It's complete luck, and you have so much competition on YouTube. I find people who are able to upload more than once a week grow their channel faster. I can only schedule 1 video a week, sometimes 2, because of work and stuff like that. So I do find it hard to grow on YouTube, but I enjoy making my videos anyway, so who cares? What is the main benefit of making YouTube content? Weirdly enough, and this is going to sound like such a soppy answer to this question, but I get a lot of comments from people saying that they look forward to my videos each week and that my videos have kind of helped them through certain situations, which I'd never intended. I'd never kind of planned that in my head or realised that the content that I made would kind of help people and help take people's minds off shitty situations or if their life's becoming a bit hard and stuff. And that's my favourite part. That's the most beneficial part to me. Sometimes I'll get a comment and it'll catch me off guard and I'll get all feelings and stuff and it's very weird.
I'm alive!
Where do you see your channel going in 2023? I have no idea. It all depends on what YouTube wants for us. But I'm just going to do the same things I always do. And is there anything that my viewers can do to help? Viewers can actually really help channels. A, by subscribing. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I would 100% recommend you subscribe because it does help out a lot. The second thing is sharing. If viewers share, not just my videos, but any videos they kind of like or creators they like or whatever, if you share them in Facebook groups or on Reddit or other places where you feel like there'll be an audience that people would benefit and enjoy a certain video, that would help creators, especially smaller creators, a shit ton. Sharing really helps grow a channel. You can't just rely on YouTube to do all the work for you because they don't. Videos often do well because they've been shared on other platforms. So I would highly recommend, not just my videos, but if you like a video, share it on different social media platforms, different groups, here, there, everywhere. Because as well, as a creator, if I try and share my own video into certain groups or certain pages or whatever, it's classed as like spam and self-promotion and everything. So you get to the point where you just give up because you're like, oh, I can't be arsed with yours. But if it comes from someone different who's not affiliated with making that content, then it's okay. So yes, that's some things you can do, definitely. Not just for me, but for all creators you enjoy. Okay, next question. So Hollycat said, what tech do you use to shoot your videos? If anyone wanted to start a channel, what programs would you advise them to start with? Also, what is your dream kit art project that you would want to make in the future? Why would it be your dream project? Okay, so I spoke about Filmora and all that kind of stuff, and I would highly recommend that. What tech do I use? One sec. So I use this camera. It's a Canon EOS. I think it's an EOS M50. Yeah, it is. So I've got two of these. This is my second camera that's usually pointed up here onto whatever I'm making. And then there's my second one. And it's exactly the same camera as I've got in my hands, but it's got my microphone there that I use. I also have a big ring light up at the top there, and it's got a pink hue. You can change all the colours on it. And the reason I have it set to pink is because I look really washed out when it's white. I look so pasty and pale. Look back at my older videos and you'll see how washed out I look. I also have a separate light thing there. It's like an LED box light. I have another LED box light there. And then on this camera, I swapped the basic lens out for a zoom lens, so I can zoom this lens right out. So you can see as far as that. And if I'm looking at it, it's a 11 to 22 millimeter 1456 ISSTM Canon zoom lens EFM. If that means anything to anyone, I'm not a particularly techie person, so I don't really understand. And then I can zoom it all the way back in that far if I wanted it that far. I don't want to go that far though. And that's all the tech I really use for recording my videos. And then obviously the Filmora for editing. And what is my dream kit art project that I'd want to make in the future? I would actually really love to do glass blowing again. I did glass blowing at college. We went up to Sunderland Glass Centre and I went into one of them. They actually call it a glory hole. I'm not being dirty. I did it in the glory hole and made myself a glass paperweight. And I also did this glass block that you kind of poured the glass into sand and made like an impression. I would absolutely love to do some glass blowing again. Okay, next question. So Fern's put, when was the last time you had a holiday and where did you go? The last time I went on holiday, I went to Gran Canaria and I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago. I actually recorded the entire thing. You can see the video up in this corner and I got absolutely battered. I got so drunk to the point where I vomited so hard in the morning. But I had a really great time. If you've never been to Gran Canaria, I would highly recommend it. Especially if you're a gay person, they have a huge gay scene there. To be fair, I'm desperate for another holiday. Leave your holiday recommendations in the comments below because I really need one. Next question. So Edward 3D's put, my question is about making friends and dating as a gay man. I live in one of the most LGBTQ friendly cities in the world, West Hollywood, California, yet I find it challenging to find friends or dates. It seems as though you live in a rather remote area. How's the social scene out there? So the social scene, literally right where I live now, I'm just surrounded by fields. There's no one around. But also I'm quite an antisocial person. I don't particularly like spending a lot of time with people. So I haven't been on a date in well over 10 years because I'm just not interested. I'm really not interested. I think a lot of people, and it irritates me, I'll go like see my mum or something, and she's like, oh, are you dating anyone yet? Are you seeing anyone yet? And it's like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to date anyone. And people always have this kind of impression, or this kind of expectation that people are supposed to settle down and be with someone, get married, have kids, or just date or whatever. And some people are just very, very happy being on their own and just living their life and enjoying themselves. And that's exactly what I like to do. I don't have time for people. I can't be arsed with people. I really can't. I want to wake up on a morning and do what I want to do. I don't want to wake up on a morning and have to think about someone else and have to think about what they want to do or what they want me to do. Can't be arsed with it. Really, thoroughly can't be arsed with it. And to be fair, I don't even think I have any gay friends. I think all my friends are straight.
Ew.
As far as I'm aware anyway. I'm not sure why you're finding it challenging to find like friends or dates, but I've heard that West Hollywood, it's like quite like a fake, like nasty place, isn't it? It's like kind of like an artificial place. So maybe that's why you're struggling. I'm pretty sure Courtney Act once said that the mean gays live in West Hollywood. I think it's quite difficult dating as a gay person because I think there's very few people who just kind of want to settle down and a lot of people just want to have fun. I'm also a terrible one to ask this question because I'm not really into relationships and I'm not really into people. So, yeah. If I wanted to make some friends right here, right now, I've got some dogs downstairs, I've got some horses in the field, and in the field next door to the other field, there's some sheep, so I could just talk to them. So I would highly recommend getting a dog, Edward. They're way better than people. Right, time for some more questions. So Gail's put, what kind of farming do you do? I've done chickens, hogs, pheasants, and worked on a dairy farm. It's quite a lot of work. Well, I don't personally do any farming because it's not really my kind of thing. It's more of my dad's thing. We used to have chickens and we used to have pigs, but we no longer have the chickens and we no longer have the pigs. We ate the pigs. And at the moment, all we have is horses. So we have stables and we do livery, so a lot of people come here with their own horses and just kind of muck them out and play around in the fields and stuff. And I'm very detached from it all because it's not my kind of thing. But we do horse stuff. There's horse stuff around here. I couldn't tell you any of the technical terms because I couldn't be less interested in all that kind of stuff. I have rode a horse before though, when I was really young. It's just not my kind of thing. I prefer the dogs. I like the dogs the best. Next question. So this is from What's That Smell? I'd like to know what fragrances and aftershaves you like to wear. Well, 1 second and I'll go get them. I currently have 2 versions of Hugo Boss. These 2 here, and they're very, very nice. I'm not particularly snobby when it comes to aftershave. I'll usually get aftershave at kind of Christmas and for my birthday and stuff, and that'll last me for the year. And then Christmas will come round again and I'll get some more aftershaves, and I'll just use whatever people buy us. But my top aftershave, ever, hands down, it's again by Hugo Boss, I think, and it's called Energize or Energizer. And the only reason I love that aftershave is because it reminds me of a time in my life when I used to use that aftershave and it was a really happy time of my life, and that scent always brings back so many amazing memories. I haven't had it for years actually, and I need to buy some more because it's a great scent for me because I've got memories attached to that smell. And it's quite an unusual one as well because I think scent is such an important sense that we have. So like my mum gave us some furniture when she moved house and I've still got them. I've got a couple of chest of drawers. And whenever I open them drawers, it smells like my mum's perfume. It doesn't matter what I do. Every time I open them, it constantly smells like my mum's perfume, which is Lancome Trésor, which she wears all the time, and it always reminds us of my mum. And it's just strange, isn't it? It's strange how you connect a smell with a certain time or a certain person. And it's very powerful. It's really powerful. But yeah, not asked about aftershave. I'll just wear whatever people give us. Okay, next question. So Neon J's put, what's your favourite movie, favourite band? In my last one I said my favourite movie was Brokeback Mountain. It still is Brokeback Mountain. Although saying that, I recently watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that was a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend watching it. So good. No wonder it won so many awards. Really, really great film. And favourite band, I don't think I really have a favourite band. I like to listen to a lot of 80s music, and I don't think they're really bands. I think even from the 80s, I'm not sure, they might be 90s. But I like Jennifer Rush and Laura Branigan and people like that. They're my go-to at the moment. There is a song I absolutely love at the minute. Let me just have a look at my Spotify. It's called I Just Wanna Dance, and it's Wayne G feat Alison Gia, and I think it's a remix from a different song, and it's fantastic. There's loads of swearing in it though, so if you don't like swearing, you won't like that song. That's it there, give it a listen. Fantastic song, I love it. But yeah, I don't really have a favourite band, and I listen to just a very eclectic mix of lots of stuff. Next question. So my Danshi6500 put, could you see yourself finding one craft and turning it into a business? Not really. I think if there was one craft I would turn into a business, it would probably be candle making. But the problem is, there's so much competition with every kind of craft and every kind of stuff that you're selling. So if you're going to make a business from a craft, you're going to find it very difficult. And you've also said you'd probably hate it after a month. I probably would too. I'd get bored. That's why I like to do lots of different things. But if I had to, if I was forced to do one thing to kind of make a business out of, it would probably just be candles. Because they're very commercial, very easy to sell. Next question. So Waverly Wanderer put, do you think you will ever do a live crafting video? Something simple with live chat so people can make suggestions, comments. Crafting, talking and looking at chat might be a bit of a brain overload, but might be a fun challenge and you don't have to edit. Craft along with Ant to see if your viewers' efforts are any better. I have thought about doing live videos. The only reason I don't do live videos is because it's quite hard to do a live video where I live because there's just so much noise and so many people all the time. So it's very frustrating. There's just way too many distractions. And secondly, the reason I've never done a live video is because I feel like live videos go on for so long. Like a live video could be like 2 hours long, when in reality, when you edit that down, it could be like a 15-minute video. And that's the only reason I don't do it, because I don't want to waste people's time. I don't want to waste people's time sitting here chatting when it could be over, edited and over and done with in 15 minutes. I like to keep it snappy. But I haven't ruled out doing a live video, and I might do it in the future, but I don't have any plans because of the reasons I've just stated. I've only got 4 comments left. I'm determined to get through them all today. Right, let's have a look. So Akeisha's channel has put, when is the next Drunk Craft episode? I have no idea, Akeisha. I've got no plans for one, but I do like to get a bit tipsy and a bit drunk, so there will be probably one eventually coming up, but I haven't got any plans yet. What shall I drink? Give us some recommendations. Tequila and crafts might be fun. I'd get absolutely bladdered. I wouldn't be able to make the video, but I do love tequila. Oh. Next question. So Chucky Face has put, hi, how are you? How many art installations have you done? I love the pieces that you've shown that you did. What series on your channel is your favourite and least favourite? What inspires you the most? How am I? I'm depressed and stressed, like the majority of people. How many art installations have I done? Oh, I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. I've done several art installations of different kinds. I've done wall art installations, freestanding installations, immersive installations, and I really like creating installation art. The only issue is, when you're a bit of a hoarder like me, it's quite hard to keep installations, so a lot of the times they can be quite temporary, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I've done loads. What series is my favourite and least favourite? Oof, it's a tough one. Honestly, one of my favourite series on the channel at the minute is Cooking with Ant. Mainly because I just get to piss around and have loads of fun, and it's very reactive. Like, there's lots of reactions involved. Let me just have a try. I tend to have a lot of fun editing those videos. My least favourite series, I don't think I have a least favourite series. If I had a least favourite series, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. It's as simple as that. I don't think there's anything that I don't like doing. No, because if there was something I didn't like doing, I just wouldn't do it. One series that I did really enjoy, and that I thought was going to be around for a long time, was finishing my subscribers' drawings. I only ever did 2 of them, and the reason I only ever did 2 of them is because the views on those videos were absolutely dreadful. And I try not to let YouTube views or anything like that dictate what I do on the channel, because then you just kind of, I don't know, it hinders creativity. But with that series, I tried my best and it didn't go anywhere. It really struggled, so I had to call it on ahead. Same with Craft Race. When I did that, when I crafted drag queens from Drag Race, I really enjoyed that series, but it did terrible on YouTube, so that's why that one got canned as well. And what inspires me the most, I think the main thing that inspires us to create anything are materials. Materials as a whole. Just using materials and figuring out what they can do and what they can't do, and just pissing around and experimenting. That's my favourite thing to do. You've also put, thank you for all the fun you bring to my life. You're more than welcome. So these comments that like, they hit my little cold frosty heart and make me all like emotional and stuff. Next question. So Bob Herbert's put, what would you like me to paint, and relationship advice or? I have no idea what you should paint, Bob, but you can never go wrong with some like flowers or something nice. And secondly, I don't know whether this was a bit of shade. Relationship advice ? And then or, because maybe I'm single. I don't have any relationship advice. My advice on relationships is to just not bother getting into one in the first place. Unless like you're into that and you want to do that, then good for you, but not my kind of thing. And the final question, why am I shaking it? The final question. Maiden Shy, I hope hope I'm pronouncing that right, has put, what crafter skill would you have a go at if money space was no object? Again, I would love to do glass making and glass blowing. 100% would love to do that again. And secondly, I would also really enjoy, can you remember when I did Art Attack crafts from the TV show Art Attack? I would love to do a big art attack in like a field or something somewhere, but it would cost me a fortune. It would be really hard to record. If I ever got into a position where I could though, expect a big art attack, because I'll definitely be doing one. I've had it in my mind for a long time. I don't have the space or money or anything to do that, so that's one that I would do. So that just about does it for part 2 of Q&A Ask Me Anything. And I can't believe I managed to get through all these comments. I wasn't expecting to. I feel like I've been talking for hours and at a million miles an hour. I'm gonna end up losing my voice. And I've got another video to record after this. But hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And you can't want to know anything else, surely. Surely I've spoken enough about myself to where everyone now knows everything about us. I'm not going to start giving out my PIN number and all that kind of stuff, because then I just won't have any identity left. But thank you very much for all of your questions. You have again asked quite a lot of really decent questions. A lot of relationship stuff, which I'm not particularly great at, but hopefully you found some stuff helpful. And I'll see you on Friday for a brand new video. I don't think you realise when you talk for so long, your voice just starts to go. No wonder singers like Adele and people like that have to get vocal surgery, because the voice must just like kill after singing constantly. Not that I can sing, I can't sing for shit, but I can talk a lot.